Well, ho, 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 everyone. There's a new human design transit that starts on Christmas Day. I am filming this a few days ahead of time because I don't want to be doing this on Christmas Day. So I'm a little bit more of a solstice girl myself. And I did do a ritual for the solstice on the 20th, which is on my YouTube channel if you are also a little bit more of a solstice person and you want to check that out. But we're going to go ahead in this particular video and dive into the new transit that starts on Christmas Day. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. So on Christmas Day, we have a significant shift in energy, actually. So the transit that we have that came right before this one was all about the G center. It was all about love and lovability and identity and direction. And it really helped us to be able to open our hearts at this time. And that is where the solstice fell. So now on the 25th of December, the sun moves into the gate 58, which is the gate of joy, which is nice for Christmas Day, and the gate 52, which is the gate of stillness or the gate of perspective. Now, both of these gates are in the logic circuit or the understanding circuit or the pattern circuit. So it's a significant shift that we had from really being in the G center. Both of these are on the root center. We'll talk about the root in a minute, but let's dive a little bit into the logic circuit. So the logic circuit starts in the left brain, goes over, crosses over in the ajna, comes down the right-hand side of the body and up through the central channel. It does do a little jog down there at the bottom. And this is important for this particular transit because you can see the 52 that's on the root has kind of jogged over a little bit to the left side of the body, comes up through the sacral and then up through that central channel. So the logic circuit or the pattern circuit, like I said, is left brain energy. So it tends to be strategic, logical, linear, focal gaze, good for planning. Our culture really values left brain logic, left brain intelligence. And so we tend to really privilege this way of knowing because it comes out of the scientific method. So the scientific method lives in the logic circuit, and it comes out of that Western scientific method that really is about material reality. It's about 3D reality. And it's about being able to count things and to quantify them and to categorize them and to put them together in, like things with like things. It's that kind of analysis, right? And it's really useful for us. It can be great for us, right? We need it in all kinds of different aspects of our life. And the only thing that I take issue with is that we act as if that's the only way to know things. Whereas human design shows us, not only do we have a left brain, we've got a right brain. That's what the sensing circuit is. And then we also have the knowing circuit, which is our intuition. So we have lots of different ways of knowing. And this is just one particular way. Now, both of these gates are on the root center. So we're all the way down, right, in the pelvic floor. We're all the way down at the base of the spine, right, where this root is. And the root chakra in the chakra system is really connected to the earth. It's connected to our survival. It's connected to our way of really being able to thrive on the planet through our relationship with the living world. Now, the root center in human design is a little bit different. It has a lot to do with divine timing. And you can see it's got a lot of different activations that are coming into it, right? There's 3 channels on each side and then 3 channels coming in from the top. So it's got a lot of different influences that are coming into this root center. And it is connected to the adrenal glands. It's connected to our ability to, get up and go and have things happen. So that is an influence for us with what's happening here on the 25th. So let's talk about the sun in the gate 58. So this is known as joy, or sometimes the joy of mastery. Now, what does joy have to do with logic? Right? Why is that? Why isn't that in the sensing circuit? Well, it's interesting because it really has to do with I think of it more with the patterns, right? It has to do with the joy that we experience when things are in order, when the pattern is working. Its mate is the 18, which is known as correction in traditional human design, or realignment in quantum human design. So the way I think about this is that when the pattern is in order, right, when things are in their right place and things are working, right, then we get joy from that. So I can give you an example. I have one of my very best friends has the gate of 18, the gate of correction defined in her chart. And I actually have the 58 defined in my chart. So when we meet, we get that whole channel going together, right? But she's someone with that corrective energy who gets an immense amount of joy by creating order in her life, an order that has to do with patterns. Sometimes she'll share with me, she's like, oh my gosh, I just did my budgets. Everything's lining up. I'm so happy. And I'm like, oh my God, I would rather die than do my budgets. But bless her. It gives her so much joy. I also saw her once with her suitcase. She had just a carry-on and she had all these different things she was going to. So she needed different clothes and she had them. Each one was in its own little compartment. It was in the right part of the suitcase. It was all just highly organized, everything in its place, right? And I looked at her and I said, I'd love to see your gate 18 in action. And she goes, it just gives me so much pleasure when it's like that. So even though we're not talking about the gate 18 now, it gives you a sense of that kind of joy when things are in their right place and when things are working. And of course, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, right? Christmas is a joyous day, right? Because somewhere along the line, some group of people decided that Jesus was born on this particular day. And so this is joy to the world, right? Joy to the world. So whatever your particular orientation is to Christmas, I hope you do enjoy some joy during this time. And it is great to have that coming in after the winter solstice here in the north, because now our days are starting to get longer and longer. And for me personally, there's a lot of joy as our days get longer and as our temperatures warm up. They're not going to really warm up, for another month or so, but the days will start to get longer. And there's a lot of joy for me in that, in stepping into this more expansive time of the year, which is what happens right after the winter solstice. So I experience a lot of joy with that. And I wish you to be having joy also in your life. Now, it's interesting because its companion is the gate 52, which is also on the root center, also in the logic circuit, right? So we've got some similar energy going on here. But the gate 52 is quite different, right? Because the joy is like, right? It's kind of expansive. Joy tends to not be so quiet. Like happiness can be quiet, right? But joy tends to be like, and here we've got stillness. Stillness. It's very different, right? So there's an interesting kind of creative tension between these two. And I also love this, though, with the stillness and the perspective, because this is perspective that helps us to kind of get still and expand and see the big picture, right? See, wow, how can we, climb above the forest, right? To be able to see the expanse, right? To have a big view. And this is a wonderful energy for us to have going around the turn of the year. As we're starting to move into 2025, we want to have a greater perspective. And in order to access that perspective, stillness is very helpful. This is why, when we want to really change our point of view, or we want to understand more deeply, what do? We go inside, we close our eyes, we get really still, right? Because when we do that, our minds calm down and we're able to access the wisdom of our inner being. If we're too busy, if we're out partying and we're like, hey, I'm going to go to New Year's Eve, and there's all this stuff going on, we can't get the new perspective, right? Because we're not still. We might have joy. We might have some joy, but we don't have perspective. So we need both, right? So while this transit is happening, I encourage you to just kind of be leaning into, do I want to be joyous and expansive, or do I want to be still and grow my perspective? Because neither one of them is right or wrong. There's nothing about that. It's really about how are you feeling? And it may be that you choose to just pick one. You might just want to ground yourself, right, in that sense of stillness here in this quiet wintertime here in the north. Or you may be like, joy. So it's up to you how you want to spend your energy during this holiday season. So I just want to give you a heads up on the next transit that is going to start on December 30th. And we also have a new moon in Capricorn that day, because we will have moved into Capricorn with the winter solstice. And the sun is going to move into the gate 38 and the earth is going to move into the gate 39. And during this this new moon, of course, the moon will be in the gate 38 also. So let's talk about the gate 38 a little bit. So the gate 38 is on the root center, which we were just talking about the previous transit, focusing on the root center. So this is also in the root center. So is the 39. So we're having a lot of focus here on this, our ability to really kind of relate to the earth and the living world that's being activated here with the root center. But the 38 is in the knowing circuit. The 39 is also in the knowing circuit. Both of these are individual circuitry. And the 38 is known as the fighter in traditional human design, or visionary, or the visionary leader in quantum human design. We often call this colloquially the Martin Luther King gate. I like to call it the stake in the ground gate, because it's like, what are you standing for? What are you willing to put a stake in the ground for and stand up and be counted? Now, we like to call it the Martin Luther King gate because it's non-violent. This is not about violence, okay? This is about your willingness, your courage, if you will, to stand up for what you really believe in, to put that stake in the ground. And so I really like this energy at the beginning part of the year, because it helps us, it reminds us to say, what is it that we're standing for, right? What is it that really matters to us? What is it that we want to see expand in our world? Right. So this is something you can be meditating on, writing about, sharing with friends in your life, family, and so on, and be bringing up a rich, deep conversation about what really matters. We all know we're in a pretty turbulent and challenging time here on planet Earth, looking at big things that are happening in our world, whether that has to do with, climate change or the economy or politics, or there's just lots of places we can look. And we want to be able to choose what it is that really matters for us. And I think the 38 is an incredible energy for helping you get in touch with your sense of purpose, right? Because what is it that you're willing to stand up and be counted around? What is it you're willing to put a stake in the ground around, right? That gives you purpose, even in the midst of an environment that feels challenging, right? Where there's so many different things that could be feeling like they're a bit in your face, right? If you can ground yourself, right? This is root center, right? Ground yourself in this sense of purpose, right? And especially doing this on this new moon, you can set yourself up for going into this whole first part of 2025 with that sense of purpose in place for yourself. So I really encourage you to be doing that now before we get to the end of the year, so that as we move into that 38, you can really start to feel that and juice that up for yourself. So this is my very last transit report of 2024. I will be doing a major themes transit report for the month of January. I'm excited to bring that to you, and I will be talking more about this transit that's happening on the 30th inside of that longer January transit report. I want to express my appreciation to you, my subscribers and my viewers for, I've almost got 10,000 subscribers now. I'm not a huge YouTuber, but I've got a solid channel and it's growing. And that's all due to you. That's due to you coming and watching my videos and commenting and sharing them. A lot of you share them with people. I so appreciate how you have supported me during this time. And it keeps me coming back. It keeps me being like, okay, I'll be here. Let's offer this. I do want to let you know that in 2025, I'm going to be doing something really different than what I have been doing. And so stay tuned for more about that. As we are closing out 2024, I'd like to invite you to a special seminar I'll be doing on January 7th called Master the Neutrinos Stream. And during this seminar, you will get to discover the once-in-a-lifetime transit that begins in January 2025. And this is going to be changing everything. Why what you do in 2025 will set the stage for the rest of your life. How the human design prophecy of 2027 has to do with moving into the incarnation cross of the sleeping phoenix. How that begins actually in January 2025 and how you can make the most of it. Ways you can guide and enhance your life by following the human design transits, and ways you can use human design and feminine sovereignty to take greater command of your life from the inside out. Many of you have asked for more information about how to use the human design transits, and I will be letting you know how you can do that as well. And we have a big event that's going to be coming up a little bit later in January, so I'll be sharing more with you about that then. But in the meantime, I do encourage you to go ahead and register for this seminar, and I will look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, January 7th. This will be at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 9 p.m. in Central Europe. Many blessings, my dear friends, and much love for a beautiful closing of 2024 and an opening of 2025.